You're listening to the McDermott Out Week of the Super League Pod, where we also have a free prize giveaway. Find out that it's not so bad anymore to get sent to Coventry. Crisis clubs in Leeds and the lower leagues get a good bashing, plus all your regular stats, listener views, results and more. So get strapped in for the 188th time. Hello listeners, welcome along to episode 188 of the Super League Pod. I'm Mark, your regular host, and this week I'm joined by Rugby League nut, Tim Griffiths. How are you doing, Tim?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. I had a week off last week as well. Went to Italy, went to Rome, which was very nice. Very nice, refreshing break. And then managed to, despite EasyJet's best efforts, managed to get back in time to get to Coventry for I've got a fly buzzing around my head.
I can hear that, yeah.
Yeah. It's come right, yeah, right, it's gone away now. Or is it a wasp? I don't know what it is.
So Coventry, I mean that's kind of where your introduction came from, because you featured on the BBC Rugby League podcast as well. Coventry heavily featured, and a little bit a snippet from yourself on there. So how did that all come about? Explain for those who aren't aware what this weekend was for Coventry.
Yep, so it was as part of the 25th anniversary celebrations. We had sort of just a big fun day, really, because it was the match against Bradford. So Bradford are obviously going to bring down quite a lot, so we thought we'd try and get as many locals in as well. And a crowd of 1,450 definitely saw to that. So that was a record crowd for the club, so everyone's really pleased with that. And we had lots of going on, so we started off with a tag rugby tournament in the morning, which was lots of good fun. I was watching a bit of that as I was setting up, and I was even putting the try music and scorers when they were crossing over, just as I was warming up the system and checking everything was working. So that was quite good fun for them and quite good for us as well.
Yep.
Then we had quite a lot of kids were playing on the pitch, which was good. So all the Bears juniors, or the Cubs as they like to be known,
wonderful.
They were playing pre-match with Troy, who's our community coach. So he was getting them involved. We had a couple of the players who weren't playing as well were looking after them for the day. They took them around the dressing sheds before the game as well, showed them what it looked like. And when Dane Chisholm was doing his kicking warm-up, he got all the kids round a little horseshoe and said, "Right, you watch me how I'm kicking."
Wow.
And he was just getting them involved. Just nobody asked him, just completely unprompted, just gathered them round. And I know for a fact that the kids, some of them haven't even stopped talking about it yet.
That's really exciting. So, I mean,
Yeah.
the 1,400 and so on, how many of them, obviously the Bulls will have bought a big contingent, how many of them do you think are people that might become new fans of the Bears as well?
So I'd estimate it's probably about 600 odd locals to 900 or so.
Yeah. Compared to your
Bulls,
normal
roughly,
crowds of 200 or so, that's...
Yeah, sort of 400 on a normal day. So that's probably it was probably quite swell. There's obviously lots of interest generated. We've done a lot of promotions, lots of things. Some of the guys have been on the local BBC the night before as well to promote it and really kick it on. So lots of things done. We've got in contact with fan groups, all sorts, try and get people down. We had some live music on as well, which is a draw for quite a few people. So we had some good bands that were playing pre-match in a stage that we set up on the far side of the pitch.
Oh, excellent.
And then we had some music after the game as well in the clubhouse, which is good. There was an ice cream van, which unfortunately was the opposite side to where I was. So I didn't get the ice cream. I was quite gutted about that, because I do like an ice cream when it's hot, but I was over the opposite side, and unfortunately I'm not yet at the superstar status where I can get a runner to go and get them for me.
Shocking. I think
could probably have.
You're getting there though, now that you've been featured on BBC 5 Live Rugby League podcast, as well as your regular spots on the Super League pod. So that's very exciting. The day was a big success, then I'm guessing.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Loads of people were really happy.
Did the
A
Bulls
lot of the
fans
kids we
get
had
there early
down,
and stick around at all and that sort of stuff too?
they came down early, but not many were around for that long actually. Did sort of all shoot off after the game. There weren't many sort of out and around because I was expecting to see more around because we went out into town afterwards, and I was expecting to perhaps see a few that would be staying over, especially as some of the hotels were booked out really quickly.
Yeah.
So the normal hotel I would normally stay in, which is right next to the ground, that was booked out 3 months ago.
Wow.
So I'd kind of thought all Bulls fans getting on it early.
Obviously not.
But clearly not, because don't know. I'm guessing a few would have stayed, but I think quite a lot of them decided to just do it as a day trip, which is fair enough. They made loads of noises that when they came down and were really good at getting behind their team, but not being aggressive or nasty with it. So they were just really supportive, really happy to get on, really enjoying everything. Some of the kids as well that we had down, they were buying replica jerseys, and apparently one of them even insisted on sleeping in his jersey.
That's really cool. So that's a kid who'd never been before, or not really?
He'd been to training a couple of times, but not been to a game. So it was his first game that he'd come along to. And then, because I ran the shop for a little bit to help out, so people could have a break and whatever, and came over and said, "Oh, can I?" And we had loads of hats on sale as well.
Yeah, I saw them.
They were flying out, and we had lots of tops and lots of some old replica kits that the club had that they were selling off.
Yeah, they've had some nice kits, haven't they, over the last few years? Coventry Bears. They've done some good stuff with the marketing. So it sounds like it was a big success. Is it something that's on the radar to be repeated or expanded upon or anything like that for future games?
There's loads of ideas for various things sort of kicking around. That's sort of one of the things we were talking about on the Saturday night is what's next. But we definitely think we got quite a few friends out the day as well, and it was quite nice just seeing all the media interest we got. Obviously, we had all the proper sport guys down to do the stream, which is so they were down and they were all really nice and really happy to get involved and really good. You had Andrew Chalmers was there as well, and he sort of made a point of being he was very nice and to everybody, and sort of said, "Excuse me, thank you," kind of not to the level you'd kind of expect necessarily for someone like that. You sort of, when I've encountered that sort of level of person in the game before, they possibly do think they're a little bit above it, etc. However, he was one of the nicest guys, absolutely lovely. And if you've seen For Ragnarok, he reminded me a bit of Korg.
I've not seen that, but that's Ragnarok to me is a weapon out of Final Fantasy. That's all.
Korg was apparently based on a couple of New Zealand bouncers that the director Taika Waititi knew, and he was just like a massive guy, but absolutely lovely with it. It's like, oh yeah, thank you very much. Oh, this is brilliant. So and Dave Woods was actually sat next to me for most of the game.
Right, because that was one of the things I was going to bring up with you, because the bit that featured you was the only bit that didn't sound like an interview. It just sounded like you were talking.
That's pretty much what it was, yeah. But
you did a few interviews with some of the bigwigs at the club.
Yes, yeah. It was partly just the time that we got. It was just as we were doing sort of the last 10 minutes before the match. She says, "Oh, we haven't got time to do too much, so we'll just tell us a bit about yourself and whatever." So did that, and then he just sat on the little bit next to me. Didn't even want a proper seat. He was just quite happy sitting on the little step next to the camera gantry, so he was quite happy there. And again, he was an absolutely brilliant guy, really happy to chat. And I think there's often a perception in rugby league that the media are kind of above the rest of us, but absolutely couldn't be further from the truth. He was really enthusiastic, happy to chat. I've had some really positive
experiences this year and stuff as well. So I think it's great to hear that. That's the rugby league community, the rugby league family is very very wide, isn't it? That's great. What about Rome? Any interesting stories from Rome at all?
Well, there was the farce of the Vatican. All I can say is if someone promises you a skip the line tour, take that with a pinch of salt, because we paid €55 to skip the line. However, all it meant is we went into the skip the line. And people who follow me on Instagram noticed I did have a bit of a Partridge-esque breakdown about it, because it was a little bit frustrating, and the tour guide was not the best. even when we got there. And then we got in there, and turns out the church was closed because there was they're preparing for some holy festival the next day, so we couldn't even actually get into St. Peter's. So half the point of having to skip the line was to skip that line as well as the Sistine Chapel, and he couldn't even do that. So good, but the Sistine Chapel, once you got there, was absolutely amazing and breathtaking, and you see why it was so many people want to go to it. But it was a very Disney World type thing, that basically the whole museum was geared up as one giant queue to get into the actual Sistine Chapel.
Yeah, of course.
So you're queuing up, but just you're going through a museum while you're doing it.
Yeah.
So you see all these great artworks, and I kind of would have wanted to spend some more time with those, but part of it was you were just trying to get through to get to the final bit, because it had taken us all day and it was in the sunshine. And so I was very hot, very tired by that point. But no, some brilliant food as well. And it was just all around a nice relaxing break. Found a branch of Brewdog out there as well, which was very good. And it had a complete with a sort of 90s indie soundtrack.
Awesome.
Big air conditioning and very cold beer. So I was it was just round the corner from the Colosseum, actually. So I did the Colosseum, and I was really feeling horrible. And I thought, I need a drink. Had a quick look on it, said, Brewdog. So, that'll do. And they had some, as well as their Brewdog beers, they also had 2 local beers. So so I had a couple of local beers up there as well. So that was very good.
Excellent. I spent my weekend in Sheffield, and driving to and from Sheffield was a big part of it as well. Because it was my brother-in-law's 40th birthday, so that's what I got up to. But also today, Emma got her results for her Masters in Architecture, and she achieved a distinction with some really impressive grades. So I couldn't be prouder of her. A lot of the SLP listeners who follow her on Twitter or Facebook and things like that have passed on their congratulations. So we're very appreciative to everyone, dropping in a good word. But she's done a fantastic job. So now she just has to start working and putting something back into the house.
So what is the next step? I mean, obviously congratulations, but what is the next step in terms of that? Is it just is she now fully qualified to go out and design buildings herself, or does she have to do a further bit of training? Or because I don't know anything about.
In architecture, it's a 3-step process essentially. That you do your sort of undergrad level, then you do your masters, then you do your on-the-job kind of stuff. So you have to clock time.
Right. So you have to build up a portfolio kind of thing.
That's it. So you sort of clock your time, and then by the end of that, you've got to go and do a few professional development sessions and that sort of thing, and then you do a final project basically that will get marked as your final piece of work after all of that. And case study exam interview is what I've been told, shouted down the stairs.
There's more work to do, basically.
Yeah, but to be a fully qualified architect. But she's got herself a job lined up as well now, so very proud of her, even if she does correct me when I'm trying to explain how amazing she is. But yeah. Anyway,
just tell her well done.
Yeah. So anything else so what else have we got coming up on the show, Tim? We're going to start with news of a prize giveaway for everyone.
Ooh.
So everyone wants to tune in for that. Anyone who's fancied themselves on the quizzes that we've posed over the years will be very excited for what's about to come shortly. Leeds chat, that's going to dominate the news section, obviously, although there's loads of other news to cover off too. There's a small number of fan reviews this week on the match reviews. Pretty disappointed with that, but I'm sure we've all been enjoying the sunshine and watching the World Cup and things like that and getting distracted. But we've got plenty of stats and results to cover off in the weekend's action. We're also going to slip in our takes on who might join Widnes and Toronto in the qualifiers. Tim, I've not really primed you for this, but you'll have spotted in the rundown that I've put in a few fixtures, so you probably were expected to have this sort of chat. So we'll talk about who's going to join the qualifiers from both Super League and Championship in our reckoning. So like I said, the first bit of business this week is to talk about our free giveaway, which is a signed copy of Gavin Willisey's great book about the 1953 American All-Stars touring side, what's called No Helmets Required. It's now out in paperback format, which is what Gavin's kindly donated for giving away as a prize, and he's signed the book, so you know, pretty unique in that regard. And to be in with a chance of winning it, simply you've got to send us the answer either on Twitter, Facebook, or by email. So it's at Super League Pod, facebook.com/Super League Pod, or superleaguepod@gmail.com, and you just need to tell